Hello, I'm Sarah from Sutton Schoolswork. Welcome to our Assemblies Online. Now, each week we're going to be bringing you a Bible story, a thought about what it means for Christians, a question or two for you to think about, and a fun activity for you to do as well. So are you sitting comfortably? Well, let's begin. Today we are thinking about talents. First, let's play a game. Different members of our assembly team are going to mime, so act without speaking, different talents, and you have to work out what their talent is. For example, if I did this, my talent might be running. Are you ready? Let's start.
I was, of course, swimming.
I was playing a recorder.
Chains, padlocks. My special talent is escapology.
I was playing the violin.
It's great having talents and gifts, isn't it? Now, in the Bible, Jesus tells a parable about talents. Can you remember what a parable is? A parable is a story that has a hidden message or meaning within it. In Jesus' day, talents were coins or money tokens. But Jesus wasn't just talking about money. See if you can figure out what else he might be talking about in this parable.
There was once a very rich man. This man was so rich that he had 3 servants who worked for him in his house. One day the rich man called his servants together and told them,
I'm going to go away on a very long journey and I'm going to put you in charge of my money.
So he gave his first servant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 talents. Each talent was worth about £1 million. So 5 talents would have been about £5 million. He gave his second servant 2 talents. Not quite as much as the first servant, but still a lot of money. And he gave the third servant just 1 talent. Then the rich man waved goodbye and set off on his journey. Well, the first servant, the one with the 5 talents, got to work straight away. He was good at making and fixing things, so he decided that he would use the money his master had given him to buy up some tatty old chairs from jumble sales. He also bought some paint and brushes and other bits and bobs. He carefully sanded the chairs down, removed the old paint, and then carefully repainted them. When he'd finished, the chairs looked great, and he was able to sell them for much more than he'd paid for them. In fact, he ended up getting back not only the 5 talents that his master had given him, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 talents more. The second servant was very good at baking, and he decided to use the 2 talents that his master had given him to buy some cooking utensils and ingredients. He got very busy in his kitchen, mixing and baking. The cakes he made did taste exceedingly good, and he sold them, and in the end he ended up getting back not only the 2 talents that his master had given him, but 2 talents more. The third servant took his 1 talent and decided that he wanted to make sure that he had something to give back to his master when he returned. So he carefully dug a hole, took his 1 talent and buried it in the ground for safekeeping. Then one day the rich man returned. He was keen to find out what his servants had done with the money he had left them. He went to see his first servant.
You gave me 5 talents and I used that to buy some old chairs and some paint and some bits and bobs, and I used that to give these old chairs a bit of a makeover. And when I'd done that, I sold the old chairs for double the price, and I've doubled the money that you gave me. So now I've earned an extra 5 more talents, making 10 altogether.
And the rich man said,
Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I shall put you in charge of many things. Come and celebrate with me.
Then the rich man went to see his second servant.
You gave me 2 talents. And I used 2 talents to go and buy some cooking utensils and some ingredients, and then I used that to bake some exceedingly good cakes, which I sold. And not only did I get my 2 talents back, but I got an extra 2 talents as well, making 4 talents altogether.
And the rich man said,
Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I shall put you in charge of many things. Come and celebrate with me.
But then the rich man went to see his third servant.
I knew you were a hard man, so I thought I'd hide the talent in the ground so I'd keep it nice and safe. Let me go and get it for you. There we go. There it is, nice and safe.
The rich man was very angry.
You are a lazy servant. You could have at least put the money in the bank where it could have earned more.
He then took the 1 talent from the lazy servant and gave it to the one who had 10 talents.
So 2 servants used the money their master had given them and multiplied it. But one servant got a bit scared and hid his money. If Jesus wasn't just talking about money, what else might he have been talking about? He was talking about gifts and talents. He was talking about using the abilities we have been given to be the person we were created to be. Take this frisbee, for example. You know it's a frisbee and you know what it does, but imagine for a moment that you have never seen a frisbee before. You might look at it and think it's a dinner plate. A hat, maybe? You might think it's a fan. It could be just about anything. but it isn't. It's a frisbee. And the person who created the frisbee created it for a purpose. The purpose of a frisbee is to fly. It might not look that impressive, but if you throw it, boy, can it fly. Now, Christians believe that God has given us all talents, gifts and abilities. In today's parable, Jesus was saying it's important for us to use those gifts and talents, to share them, to grow them and to not hide them away, even if we might be a bit scared or perhaps a bit lazy. We believe that God created us for a purpose. When we use our talents, we can do amazing things. Now, we've got a few questions for you. Why don't you pause in between each one, have a think, write down your answer, or maybe have a chat about your answer. What talents and abilities do you have? Which of the 3 servants do you want to be like, and why? How could you use your gifts and abilities to make the world a better place? Now, we've got an activity for you to do. You will need a piece of paper and you will need some pens or pencils. Now, on your piece of paper, in the middle, draw yourself. You could just draw your face or your whole body. Make sure to leave room around the edge of the paper. Draw some stars around yourself, big enough to write inside. If you find it a bit difficult to draw stars, you could draw boxes or bubbles or another shape. Inside each shape, you are going to write your gifts and talents and abilities. Perhaps you are a great swimmer. Can you play a musical instrument? Maybe you bake delicious cakes or build amazing Lego creations. Once you've filled your page with all your talents, colour your picture in. You could give your picture a title, I've got talents. Now remember, when we use our wonderful talents, we can learn and grow. We can make the most of our opportunities. We can bring joy and fun to others. We can help others. And we can make the world a better place. We hope you enjoyed today's assembly. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you again next week. Bye!